everyone, Mary at Espresso Press Design. Thank you for joining me today, January 7th, 2025. Today we're going to do some experiments, some watercolor hearts, and this is based on two things I've done in the past, and what I'm going to try to do is combine them, and we'll see how it goes. I really don't know how this is going to turn out, so we're just going to have a little mixed media fun today. And first, couple things I made. I made this shabby cluster. Did you know that you can cut out shapes out of fabric with your die cuts? That is what I wanted to find out, and you can. And I finished my little snowman book. I always bought snowman wrapping paper for my daughter. So I have all the cute little snowmen in here. Quite appropriate, considering we got about 6 inches of new snow. The little birds. I don't know, is it me or did wrapping paper used to be so much nicer? Little penguin. So whimsical. And I kept all the snowflakes with this particular set. There we go, all the bright colors and patterns. Little crow. I just love it. I'm not going to do anything in these books. They just, except look at them. They just make me happy. Little birds in the birdhouse. The little snowman. Graphic tree and snowflakes. And ending with the little snowman. So sweet. So many memories. Okay, so let me do my thank yous. No new products this week. Thank you to L. Berkeley, Nancy, BJWN, Gwenny, Wendy, Charlotte, Janet, Carla, Heather, Jane, and Lisa. And thank you for your kind comments in the craft items I regret. And one thing I would like to say I should have added to that list was alcohol inks. These were in the box, and there's something about the bottles and temperature or humidity. I forget what it is, but they leaked all over my cabinet. And thank God I had a placemat in there, or they would have ruined my cabinet. So I'll probably use these to dye papers, and then I'll make my own alcohol inks using markers. And another thing, AJ bunches. I don't know what to say to this, except I usually just delete comments like yours. Not because they bother me, but not because I'm a censor, but the fact is that between you and me on the internet, there is not much but a whole lot of thick fog. And rather than launch a reply or a comment and presume, assume, not have any context. So rather than take the time to decipher and launch a comment that might end up with me having my foot in my mouth, I usually just delete comments like that. They're too vague, and I don't want to be put in that position of assuming something that might not be true. So, okay. Oh, and here's an internet tip. I listen to all kinds of people on the internet, an entire milieu of people across the globe. I have never once presumed, assumed, or criticized someone based on their accent, tone, speech, grammar, etc. I've never done it, and I never will. Okay, all that being said, let's get started. So you will need some watercolor paper. I take my old sketchbooks, and this is one more reason why I love my guillotine, and I chop them up to 2 different sizes. This is 4 and about 4 1/4 by 5, which is like a card base size. And I have another stack that's 4 by 6. So I have all the mixed media paper I want. So I went through this stack and I chose some like this. And you will need some watercolors, and I will show you what I did here in a minute. I have some watercolors. You'll need your die cuts, your die cut hearts. You'll need some gesso, and you'll need some embossing folders. You'll need some text stamps and some ink. I'm going to use black ink just because I know it will show up. So let me show you where this is coming from. When I cut all of these up, I had a lot of strips left over. So I made these. Let me get up here. I made these little strips, and they are dictionary page type stamp that says affection, and I just watercolored over them like I'm going to show you today, and I made those. And then these were embossing folder bales, so I went over them with gesso and then I stamped on top. So we're going to combine something like that. So I have a whole bunch here ready to go. And I'm just going to show you the first step I did. And I would have to let it dry and then cut it and everything else. So I have a bunch ready to go here. And I have 2 that are reverse emboss, so I can see how that looks. But you're going to end up with something like this. Okay? So I just basically took a sheet like this and then went over it with my, actually I stole my daughter's palette today. My palette finally bit the dust after 40 some years, and I haven't replaced it yet, so I'm going to steal hers. Let me see. I have some basic watercolor brushes, and you can spray. I'll probably spray just so it goes faster. And then I just tried to fill in, cover. Probably need to spray this palette again. It's a little dry. Just went in, fill, color. With whatever colors you prefer. I'm kind of sticking with the warm colors today. I did add a little blue. Maybe I will add a little blue. Where I can there, with where I have some white. Now watercolors, you have to go light to dark. You usually can't put a light over a dark because they're not opaque. These are really some beautiful paints. She got this, oh, what was it? They went to an art center in school, and they came home with this whole bag of supplies, including this palette. I think I'm going to deepen that red. It's really not too bad colors, actually, and pretty saturated. Which is surprising. I think that was around, I did look it up because I thought, wow, that's really nice, and it even includes a color chart that comes with it and a color chart on the back of the palette. So, or the back of the palette, tin palette. So you end up with something like this. If you want to add more texture, let me get my alcohol water here. If you want to add whatever, spray, what's it called? Do anything like that, be my guest. Spatter. If you want to do anything like that and add some more texture, that's fine. So okay, so obviously I let that dry. And then I die cut. And then I embossed. And I sprayed them a little bit before I embossed so that I would get a deep as impression as possible. So now we're going to move on to our gesso. And this will get a little messy because it's best to apply it with your finger. So the one thing I don't like doing here is getting messy. Especially this week. Okay, please come out, okay. Doesn't take a lot. And you're going to want the thinnest coat on your finger so you can just brush over the top of that texture. So here we go. And don't worry about it. If you, how can I say this? If you Don't just pick up the embossing and you get some in the background. That ends up being a plus because then you just have more area to stamp on. So don't worry about making this look like a card. We want it to be messy, distressed. Okay. Did I say I saw a beautiful cardinal this morning? Well, if I didn't, I'm saying it again. This red reminds me of it. You know how beautiful they are, especially against all the snow. And he was right there on my neighbor's bush, looking all bright red. I love the cardinals. I love the crows too. Well, I love all birds. But I can't feed them anymore. I can't put the feeder out until my cats outgrow their penchant for being predatory, which eventually they do. And the only ones I can actually feed are the crows because they won't mess with crows. And I had my crows come every day and they would actually call me or my husband. And then I haven't had time to feed them since I got the dogs because now I just feel like I live on a farm. I wake up and feed 5 pets, which is ridiculous. Where I used to feed 2 pets, two cats and a goldfish. Whoops. And I used a few different types of embossing folders just for some variety. So I'm going to do as many of these as I think it needs time to dry. And then, well, I probably have time to do all of them, I guess. Where are we? 19. Last part is just the stamping. Whoops. See, I got a big blob there. But that's okay because that area will show up more of the stamping. Okay. I'm not sure if there will be a video on Thursday. It's back to school on Sunday, so I have to make sure I'm completely healed so I can drive. Although I will say this morning I slept until 8 o'clock, which is much better than 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 5:30, just because it was extremely difficult to sleep since I twisted my leg. It's amazing what 7 hours of sleep will do for you. After a week or more of 3 or 4 hours. Okay, a couple more. I thought I did a small one. reverse too, but maybe not. Maybe I just did the big ones. Okay, by reverse I meant I put the color side facing down in the embossing folder. Those I'll do at the end here. That might even actually work better than this, than emboss. But it didn't occur to me until I was 3/4 of the way finished. And those are pretty enough. I mean, these are pretty enough. If you just want to leave them like that and not do any stamping, that's fine. Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, when it comes to certain things, I like the deboss side better. Got a lump there. So there's the deboss side. Oh, I'm going to miss my daughter. It was so nice having her home. And the Christmas tree is put away. Usually I leave it up till after the Greek Orthodox. But this year I didn't. Okay. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Clean up my hands here a little bit. Get some soapy water. And then there's always that one thing, right? You think you have every single thing that you put out for Christmas decor put away, and then you look around and you spot it. And then you're like, I know that box is way in the back of the closet. So I am not bothering to take everything out to put it where it goes. I'll just put it in the reject pile and put it back where it goes next year. Okay. Good enough. Okay. So I have my stamps, assorted text stamps, including the affection one. So I'm going to start with my no fail stamp, just to make sure everything is going to go okay. And of course I cleaned off my table. Okay, here's a piece of white paper. I cleaned off my table and feared I didn't have any white paper here, or any test paper here. Okay, you go like this. I really need some new ink. Oh, and that reminds me, our local Michael's store is closing. Our Big Lots is closing. It's really quite sad, but I'm not surprised. Our Michael's didn't do very well, especially after Hobby Lobby came in. Apparently we don't have the traffic, although we don't have the traffic to support 3 craft stores. Although I will say the store that was there before, I wish they were back. Pat Catan's, as their selection was 50 million times better than Orm Michaels. So I'm just going to randomly stamp in a few places on here. I'm not just going to plop it down in the center. I just want little bits of text here and there. And that one might even be a little too small as far as text. So something like that. I'm not even going to try to worry about getting 3. And I think I'm going to change this stamp because it seems like the text is a little too small. So I'm going to go with something different. And I'm going to do the affection one, I know that. So let me get that. Okay, upside down. You don't want that. Okay, here goes nothing. Ooh, that's cool, except I don't like the straight edge. So I'm just going to leave that as is. Can you see that? Okay. Let's wipe some of that off. Try to get that a little more random. Maybe I'll take it off the block. Don't smear it, which I just did a little bit. Don't have enough space here. Okay, that's better. Here we go. I'm saving these for last. Now I'm going to call these conversation hearts. I know they're not true conversation hearts, but that's what I'm calling them. And boy, was I kicking myself for not buying that conversation heart stamp set. I looked on the internet just to see who made it and how much it costs. I couldn't find it at all. Okay, I'm going to get some cursive text here. I probably used this one. Again, let me make sure. It's so difficult to tell. And I'm guessing that's right side up. Okay. Here goes nothing. Here's that one. And I do have my postage stamp, or my postcard text stamp, but I don't think I'm going to need it. Okay. I think I'll stick with this because it seems to be stamping pretty well. And I just thought, you know, rather than do something strictly for Valentine's Day, you can tuck these in anytime, anywhere. Okay, so here goes with the, oh, let me get another no-fail here. See if there's something I can use on here. Let me see. Oh, let's try that signature. See what, oh no, that didn't show up at all. That's not good at all. Okay, let me try this corner. That didn't work at all either. Okay, I'm going back to the cursive. I can re-gesso that and do it over, which is probably what I'll do, rather than waste it. So I'm just going back to this one. Oh, and it would help if you actually press. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, this is the last one. You should probably start where you have the most gesso. Okay, yeah, do that. Start where you have the most gesso. Okay, so let me get these out of the way. Don't set everything in my pile of gesso there. And then just let me grab these cutouts, and if there's anything left in here, like this one has quite a few spaces, I will probably cut them out, make a little label shape, and then do something like this so I can get as much out of these as possible. So, okay everyone, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Let me get these on something so I can bring them up here. Some of them aren't great, but that's because of my stamping. But I'm going to call these conversation hearts just because they have words on them. That's a nice one. And this, this, I like that one too. Okay, let me get this up here so you can see. So there's where we started, a combination of these two. Watercolor your hearts, emboss, gesso, and then stamp on top. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope I'll see you Thursday. I'll try to come up with something a little quick. And I hope I'll see you Thursday, but I'm not sure. So, thanks again, everyone. You have a great week and a great day. See you next time. Bye.